All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises and glory to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Double honor to the apostle elders of Great Millstone, and salutations to you, Akim, out there laboring in the faith and doing this work in truth and sincerity. And pretty much, I'm gonna get into Trump's statements against NATO, as far as them not spending or basically reimbursing the United States as far as its spending on military defense. And pretty much, that goes to show that pretty much we're in a time of pretty much the nations hating the whore, which pretty much, to those of you who are in the know, according to the scriptures, the great whore, which is talking about Babylon the Great. And pretty much America pretty much sits on the beast, which represents pretty much NATO and the EU. And pretty much, according to prophecy, it says that the nation shall hate the whore, which pretty much is going to show that 2018 marks the year of prophecy, and that everything that's happening in the earth is pretty much getting ready to lead to this man's system falling and crumbling. As the elder apostles, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, have been bringing out, all the way down to other members of Great Millstone, all the way down to, the lowest camp. So this is Revelations chapter 17, verse 16. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh, and burn her with fire. For Yahweh hath put in their hearts to fulfill his will, and to agree, and to give their kingdom unto the beast, until the words of Yahweh shall be fulfilled. Right, so the Most High is putting it into the minds of these other nations to pretty much turning against America, and to stop being America's ally, which is pretty much going to lead to the fall of Esau's empire as a whole. But in the meantime, I'm gonna go ahead and play this video clip. Then I'm probably gonna get into more follow-up precepts.
U.S. Marines rehearse an amphibious assault on the coast of Lithuania. They were among 4,000 troops from more than 20 NATO nations taking part in an annual exercise on the Baltic Sea in June. But will there be the same cooperation around the summit table when NATO leaders meet on July 11th and 12th in Brussels?
You look at NATO. We're the piggy bank that they like to take from.
Ahead of the meeting, U.S. President Donald Trump criticized some NATO members for not spending enough on defense.
Germany is paying 1% of a much smaller GDP. We're paying close to 4%.
The NATO meeting comes amid transatlantic tension over trade, and after Trump withdrew his support for the final communique at June's G7 summit in Canada. Washington has imposed tariffs on some imports from the European Union and Canada, and they have retaliated in kind. Could the rift among allies grow deeper in Brussels?
No one really knows. This is really uncharted territory for NATO.
Defense analyst Ian Lesser says NATO members are not ready for a worst-case scenario where Trump threatens to cancel military exercises or withdraw U.S. troops from Europe, unless the EU drops retaliatory trade tariffs against the United States.
Oh, this would be a very destructive linkage, obviously, and allies simply are not prepared for that debate at all. With big disputes over trade, over climate, over Iran, all of these things inevitably affect the atmosphere in the back of the summit, and there's real concern that it could blow up.
Just days after the NATO summit, Trump is planning to meet Russian President Vladimir Putin in Helsinki. Among the topics of discussion will be the ongoing conflict in eastern Ukraine, where Moscow has backed separatist fighters.
If there's a sense of disarray in the transatlantic relationship going into the Putin-Trump encounter, that undermines U.S. leverage and helps Putin.
Despite concerns over divisions, NATO says U.S. defense investment in Europe has risen 40% under Trump, and it says allies are all investing more in their own security, approaching the target of spending 2% of GDP on defense.
That when it comes to NATO, to security and defense, the transatlantic bond is not weakening, it's actually been strengthened.
NATO members are also expected to extend funding for the Resolute Support mission in Afghanistan to 2024 and commit more soldiers to train Afghan security forces. Meanwhile, NATO continues to grow. Macedonia is expected to be offered accession talks to become NATO's 30th member as the country works to settle its name dispute with Greece. Another Western Balkan nation is also aiming to join.
There's all sorts of discussions going on now about what we can do to help Bosnia and Herzegovina move closer to NATO, but in the end, it's in their hands.
The summit, however, could be overshadowed by divisions among its oldest members. NATO's summit slogan last year was, "We are allies, we are united." Ahead of this year's meeting, the issue of unity remains uncertain.
All right, so pretty much America is soon to not have any allies left, as the scriptures speak about, as far as pretty much the nation shall hate the whore, and that is pretty much all prophetic, leading to the collapse of Esau's rulership, This is Obadiah chapter 1, verse 7. It says, all the men of thy confederacy, the EU, NATO, have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. Just like Trump was saying, what America is the piggy bank that NATO likes to take out from, roughly paraphrasing. Well, pretty much this trade war is going to pretty much, lead to America's economic collapse. This third world war is going to pretty much heat up all the way until this place ends up being destroyed. All right. There is none understanding in them. Shall I not in that day, saith the Lord, even destroy the wise men out of Edom, and understanding out of the mountain of Esau? All right. And pretty much that's pretty much all coming together, according to prophecy. So with that, I want to give all praises and glory to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, double honor to the apostle that is a great millstone, and salutations to you, Akim, laboring and doing this work in truth and sincerity. Shalom.